What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Her Lounge podcast. I am so excited to be back because we are finally done with this tamale, National Tamal Day. Boy, was that hard. Yo,
it was delicious though.
y'all liked them? Good.
Dude, they were so good.
Okay.
And I'm not just saying that because we're friends.
Okay, well, I'm glad because
And the salsa, God,
I made it.
Both of them?
Yes.
Do you have some more?
Yes.
Dawn was
You
like,
want some?
if she has some, please.
Yeah,
She
the red or the
loved
green?
it. She loved the green. I love the red.
Yeah, well, I have both, whichever one you want to
Nice.
take. Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of work. It was something that was not supposed to happen. I was not supposed to do the work. Not I, but we were not supposed to do the work. Initially, how that okay, before we get started,
Okay,
sorry
yeah,
guys, let's do our positive quote, sorry, and then we'll get into it. Rob and I, before starting the podcast, we had a little bit of a meeting about things that need to happen and how frustrated I am because they keep getting pushed back because we add more things to our plate. But so with that being said, I wanted to say this: set goals, stay quiet about them, smash the shit out of them, clap for your damn self, repeat it all over, because everybody thinks that all I do is post pictures all day and they have no idea what happens behind, closed doors. You know what I'm saying? Because so much goes into it. And there's so many projects that are behind for me. And it's because I manage also my husband's businesses in addition to my own. So it causes me to kind of delay a little bit on my stuff. But I'm going to figure this out. And I'm telling you, I told Pete this the other night, and I think we talked about it on the podcast the other day when I said, I feel like since the pandemic, my train derailed and I haven't been able to get that strict organization skills back.
But you know what you can look at it as? And I'll put this to you if you haven't heard it before, is that sometimes the train's got to go off the tracks to find its destination.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, like the song.
And you're kind of doing that too, because you're navigating through it, and you are putting more ideas on your plate. You're putting more tasks on your plate, but you're also kind of innovating on how you want to go about doing it, and realizing, not that we didn't already know, how important those processes and procedures and systems to be in place are, like we were just talking about before recording.
I know. I think a lot of times it's funny because, I was on that Shout Out magazine, which I need to post about that I didn't even put Shout Out.
Shout Out Houston or what?
Shout Out Houston. Yeah. So I was on there and,
have you done the Voyage one before?
I did.
Yeah.
I've done that one too. And I never post. I don't know why I never post that I was on there. I don't know why. I feel like
it just feels weird. When I did it a couple years ago, it's like, I mean, if you want to go read it, I guess.
Yeah. I was like, do I post about it? I was like, I haven't. And I was like, I didn't have anything to post for today. And I was like, okay, at some point, maybe at 6 p.m. tonight, I'll post that Are you going
to post it?
Maybe.
Post it.
Yeah.
You're talking about it on the podcast. You might as well.
Yeah. And so I was just like, it'd be cute for them to read my story about where my, how I became, where this entrepreneur mind came from. And it's funny because we made these tamales, guys, because here's what happened. I have an aunt who basically does catering and she does tamales, right? So I thought, hey, I know she'll give me a wholesale price. So I had told Pete, listen, National Tamal Day. This is me, guys. This is the reason why I can only be mad at myself and no one else.
You put it on yourself.
I put it on myself. So Ilse, because you remember, guys, I told you she gives me my content for the month, right? And so I had Ilse put on there, maybe y'all can do a cute tamale video, right? Tamal video. And I thought, yeah, that'd be cute. And then I get this crazy idea. And I told Pete has been toying with the idea of having a food truck. He used to have them in the past, like in the early 2000s. He had some. And he's been toying with the idea again. And I'm scared because that's going to fall. If that responsibility is going to fall on me. You see what I'm saying? Eventually. Maybe not at the beginning, but eventually 99% of it is going to fall on me. So
Manager Marisol.
Yeah. So I think to myself, you know what I'm saying? Okay, wait a minute. I said, well, hey, Pete, you've been wanting to push this. You've been wanting to do a food truck again, right? We've already looked into converting the pop-up food truck that we have into a food truck, right? Which doesn't make sense because you can almost buy a brand new food truck, for the amount of money that it's going to take for us to create the current truck that we have into a food truck. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and plus the one you have is good for merch and stuff, right?
So my idea is differently now. So my idea is, hey, listen, let's go buy a piece of land somewhere that's cool, that's kind of popping, almost like that little, even if it's a leasing area, that's fine, right? Right here, like we're Eighth Wonder, where all that little area is popping because there's so many pieces of land that's just vacant there. And I said, and what we can do is you make it like a little food park just for us. And what I mean by that is maybe we put 4 picnic tables, right? His food truck is here, and then our pop-up merch store is here. So it's almost like, hey, come get your food. And if you feel like shopping while you're waiting, hey, go to the store, right?
Yeah.
So that's been my idea right now. So that's idea number 1. Let's just leave it there. Stick with me, okay? I promise you, eventually, guys, y'all will see all these things flourish. I don't know when, but they're going to flourish. So if you're feeling like, fuck, I have all these ideas and I just wish, you seriously just need some time to like plan it out 100%. And it takes so much planning to make it happen. And sometimes it's not even about needing the money or needing money to create a business. It's just about legit. Do you have it planned out 100%?
Yeah.
Because there's so much that goes into it. There's so many permits that you need for a food truck. And when I looked it up, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
do I really want to get into that mess? I don't know. That's too many permits. And so the reason why it's going to take so much money to turn the pop-up truck into a food truck is it has to be, the entire inside would have to be redone to be stainless steel, because it has to, in case of fires and so forth. So I was like, so he had someone go look at the truck. He had someone come and they pretty much gave him an estimate of what it would cost for him to get the whole thing redone. And I just said, well, that's kind of silly. I was like, for $10,000 more, we could just buy it already pretty much made, and then that's just it. Does that make sense? I don't know. That makes more sense. Yeah, and then we're just up and rolling versus we waiting for this truck to be redone and so forth. I said, instead, let's make it our store. How many food trucks out there have a store with it? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that was the thing. So anyway, my crazy idea was like, let's sell tamales and we do a merch pop-up, right?
Great idea.
So he was like, fuck yeah, that's a great idea. I said, you're the tamale kingpin. Hello, it only makes sense for you to celebrate National Tamal Day. I said, and then this could be something that we do almost like Chingo de Mayo. It could be like the pre-kickoff to Chingo de Mayo. Obviously, we're not having it this year because of the pandemic, because Eighth Wonder is still not working at full capacity. So, which I wonder why, because we're all open. I don't know what their reason is behind it. I didn't want to ask, none of my business, but I appreciate they're always willing to, they're so good about, one thing I give Eighth Wonder, shout out to them, in addition to their great beer, is they're so open-minded about entrepreneurs. And it's probably because Ryan comes from the entrepreneurial program from U of H. You know what I'm saying? So he probably is super open-minded about that. And if you're in Houston, he's on some billboards for U of H out in Houston. And it's he allows other vendors to come in and, set up their food truck or set up their stuff there, which I think is great. You see what I'm saying? And so we just told him, we were like, hey, I know we're not doing Chingo de Mayo this year, but what if we did National Tamal Day? And so I was just confident that my aunt was going to be able to make the tamales for us, right? And that was it. We were just going to show up with our merch, and then we're just going to sell tamales, right? Wrong. So I call my aunt, and she's like, I am so sorry. Thank you for thinking of me, because obviously I'm always like, hey, I need you to, can you do this? Like when we need food, I always come to her, you know what I'm saying? So she appreciates the business all the time. And so, anyway, she goes, my shoulder has been hurting. She's like, so I'm kind of out of commission right now. I'm not making no food and I'm not doing no events. I said, no way. We announced it already, because I had no idea that she was having arm issues or shoulder issues.
She's your aunt?
She's my aunt. Yeah.
What kind of niece are you?
I know. We don't see each other as much unless it's when I have to order stuff. I know that's awful. And we only keep up through Instagram and stuff like that. That's how they know. But she's my dad's cousin. So, Mexicans, we do that. That's our aunt. But technically that would be my second cousin, I guess. If the American way, I think that's how it works. But she's technically, she's my aunt.
The American way,
Yeah, there you go. So I when she told me that, I looked at Pete and I got off the phone with her. He goes, what happened? I was like, oh my God, Pete, she can't make them. I said, her shoulder's fucked up. She's not doing no events. She's not catering right now. So she said no. And I was like, oh, what are we gonna do? He goes, I'll just delete the post. I was like, ghetto, we can't do that. The post has been up for 2 days. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we can't do that. I was like, no. I was like, we're going to have to figure this out. And he's like, well, we'll just make them. I said, what? Fuck that. No, I'm not making tamales. Do you know how much work that is? He goes, yeah. I said, okay, then we can't make tamales, bro. Like, no, we don't. For one, we don't have like a commercial kitchen. So what are we going to do? He's like, well, for somebody who's always Miss Positive, you're very negative right now. So he threw that in my face. Right? He got me real good. And I was like, okay. He's like, come on, man. He's like, you always find solutions to every negative thing that I have to say. It's like, that's annoying. He's like, because here I think that there's no way out and you find a solution. He's like, this is the solution. We'll make them. My mom was the real MVP though. Yeah. She's the one that came through and she hooked it up with the recipe. And you know what I'm saying? It was like, I kept asking her for the recipe and she's like, I can't give you the recipe because I don't know measurement recipes. She's like, I know how much you need to pour in there. I know how much salt. I know how much chile. You see what I'm saying? And we went on YouTube. Trust me, I went on YouTube to look up tamale recipes. Yes, because my mom was just messing around. And I was like, well, we need to make these so they can start getting frozen. I don't want to be making this shit like last minute, you know how I am. I like to plan ahead. I need to be at least a week ahead.
This was the least ahead event ever.
And the least ahead, yes. And I can't believe how well
they were
it went for something that just happened very last minute.
Yeah.
I was very surprised. I told Pete that maybe this is something that we can do as a pop-up once a month or every 3 months, like every quarter. And I said, because the what do you call it? Excuse me, guys. I don't know what's happening right now.
It's the baby. Blame it on the baby.
We're having, I think this is how he can play with the idea of if the food industry is really something he wants to get into again. You know what I'm saying? Because before he had it happening, he had 2 trucks. They were going. They were great. You see what I'm saying? But maybe this will help him see like, yeah, maybe not. If this happens again, we're renting a commercial kitchen for this process and, calling it a day because it was really hard trying to function out of our house, and my sister's house. Yeah. And my mom's house. 3 houses.
Damn.
Yes, exactly. So with that being said, it was a lot of work. A lot of my eye is twitching. My left eye is twitching when I am stressed and haven't slept enough. That is what happens to me. So so my eye is twitching. My left eye is twitching. And I just told Pete, I want one day to myself. Like, I don't want to talk to nobody. I want to be left alone. Like, don't ask me nothing. Like, I don't want you to ask me nothing. I don't want to hear solely, nothing. I want to be left alone. Like, I want to go hide in a corner and just no one ask me for nothing.
Oh my God. Is that the baby hormones talking? Or is that just life?
I just feel like sometimes maybe it's different because you're a guy, but the ladies out there who are probably like, who run their house, right? They probably understand what I mean, where they're just like, gosh, and trust me, I don't want to be gone a whole day. I just want to like half a day by myself. Like, I just want to go get a massage. Like, I don't want to, what I mean by that is I want to be unbothered. I love my kids. You know what I'm saying? I love my husband. I love my house.
You don't have to preface it with that.
No, I'm just saying I love that, but I need to be left alone from them for a hot minute. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you're also the type of person that doesn't need that all the time. Yeah, so when you do, it's like every half a year, once a year.
It's like not often I get that because even when I'm getting my toes done, I'm just looking at my phone like, "What's up?" Yeah.
You got to take your watch off.
You see what I'm saying? I need to just not talk to anybody.
Yeah, put your phone on the floor.
And you know what? Because that anxiety of putting my phone away or turning it off came when my dad passed away. I was in school in class when my dad passed away. It's a weird thing. I was in my psychology class and we were talking about, how weird is this? We were talking about impactful things that happen in someone's life, which can create disorders, right? That's what we were speaking about.
Oh, wow.
And so someone was talking about how they had OCD, right? To where he couldn't stand going to any of his friends' house, right? Because he had to clean their house. So he's like, I hated it. He's like, I couldn't stand going to anybody's house. He goes, I can't go to parties. He's like, because the first thing I want to do is start cleaning their house because he feels it's dirty. He was raised very poor in a very dirty situation where there was roaches in his home. You know what I'm saying? And so that's where the OCD cleaning thing came from. It was that thing. So we were talking about that in class and I was listening and my aunt kept calling me. When my aunt and I talk, it's to gossip or chit chat about bullshit, right? So this was back in the days, guys, when I still had a Nextel phone and this was not around. And so you still had to press
the T3. Was it? Was that what you had to click,
used to click. So I hated texting.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, who texts? Like, just fucking call, right?
Yeah.
That's when it was still not as easy now. Anyway, so she kept calling me and I was like, damn. So when I call her back, when I get out of class, I'm like, dang dog. I said, is the gossip that juicy? And she just starts screaming. She's like, your dad is dead. Your dad is dead. And I'm just like standing outside of the class. Like I came out to answer my phone because she had called 3 times back to back. And I said, I was calling laughing because I was like, that's weird. She's calling 3 times back to back. I'm sending her to voicemail. So that's my traumatic impact.
Wait. But that's how she responds to you?
Yes. She's like, and then I'm just like standing there in shock. I grab my stuff and my teacher looks at me. I said, I've got to go. And so I just grabbed my stuff and I was just like, heading to Katie, you know what I'm saying? Because they were going to take my dad to the hospital. He was already gone, pronounced dead, but they were hoping, I guess, that maybe they could resuscitate him. I don't know, but anyway. So for me, turning off the phone now is an anxiety thing. I can't do it because what if something happens? I didn't answer my fucking phone, and there we go again. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. That's one of those
traumatic.
Yeah, that's one of those traumas you got to deal with.
Exactly. Okay. So for me, that's my little issue. So that's why I don't turn off the phone. So I'll wait to see like if Pete calls and it'll be something about that. I'm like, all right. And then I'll tell him, hey, I'm getting my toes done. So I'll call you when I'm done so that he knows to like leave me alone if it's not important. Does that make sense?
You ever use the do not disturb feature?
I don't, because I'm telling you, but I know that you can put certain people, yes.
Certain people and certain times. Like if somebody, for instance, would have called you 3 times, then it would, make a notification, then you would know it's an emergency.
So maybe I needed to start doing that.
You need to, just for your own mental health.
Yeah, I know. I need to just stop. It's just kind of like, and then that's what I'm telling you, that other night where I was coming up with all these ideas, it was like 11:45 and I said, do I text Rob right now? I was like, I shouldn't probably. Let me just make a note of what I need to say. But then it's like I'm tossing and turning because I'm just thinking about those things and I just want to talk to somebody about them. You know what I'm saying? And
then you can't fall asleep anyway. So you're like, well, shit, I should have just started the conversation.
Exactly. And then it's like, Pete already took his little pills, his ZMAs. So he's like
drooling.
Already out. So I'm like, okay, I can't ask him. You know what I'm saying? Or he'll say, you really want to talk about this right now, right before we go to bed? I'm like, yeah, I do, because during the day I can't, because you're talking to me about all the things you want to do. So shit, yeah, this is my time. This is when I need to talk to you.
That's kind of what you're supposed to do in bed, right? That married couple is
it's like
about.
Well, we talk about. Bro, wait a minute though. So the other night,
juicy.
No, I got to tell y'all something to watch, and y'all are gonna be like, what?
Spicy.
Well, no, the other night Pete goes, I saw that Ozark kind of pulled up, and I was like, what, is a new season of Ozark out?
In a month or two, I think.
Well, I thought it was supposed to be March, but Pete has said something like it was pushed back or something like that. So I thought, I was like, oh my God, Pete. I said Ozark. And then it was like, it wasn't. And then I was like, what? So it suggested this other thing. And then I was like, yeah, I read it. I was like, whatever. He goes, wait, click on it. So I'm watching. I was like, oh, that's interesting. So we start watching it. It's called The One.
Okay.
It is about, check this out. And this is what's scary because I'm sure it's happening somewhere already. It's just not happening here. And guys, it's going to happen. And I know it is. And it's so scary. So what it is, basically, The One is this app that was created. It's almost like what is that, to find your history, that DNA stuff.
Oh, 23andMe?
23, like something like that. But here's what you do. So you send in, how they showed it's like this little hair sample. So you send a hair sample and then they match you with someone else, with your ideal match.
Word.
Not your match, not the match you thought was your match.
Just
this is your
DNA
legit,
match.
your DNA match where everything you can possibly think of is compatible. Okay?
I'm watching as soon as I get home. I'm already in.
Oh my God. It is insane. I've been so hooked on it to where the other day, I don't know what I was doing. I said, fuck that shit. I'm going to watch this shit while I'm doing laundry. So I would like go put the clothes to wash and dry. And then I'd sit there. And then as soon as like the dryer was done, I'd bring the clothes. And it made laundry go by so fast. But I'm so hooked to where I'm like, okay, when do I get some time by myself? Because I need to watch the next episode. Like last night when we got home, I was like, I really would like to watch an episode of The One. And I was like, and it's your fault because you suggested it. And it's a damn good series. And I'm telling you right now, it's like, it's crazy, Rob, because this one lady is insane. She's sick in the head though, because she's a genius though, man. She's such a boss, just like, and not because she goes killing off people and not like that, but because she's so smart. Right when you think you're about to like fuck up her shit, it's like, boo-boo, I'm one step ahead of you already. I done figured that out. You can't call me out. You know what I'm saying? So this congresswoman is trying to cancel this match thing, right?
Okay.
Because it's causing the divorce rate is super high because it's causing married couples to be curious to see who their match really is.
I can see that happening.
Totally.
Yeah.
So you see what I'm saying? Why, if it's not happening already somewhere, if they haven't already, that it started off as an experiment. She did it with herself first. Okay. It's so interesting. You have to really watch it.
Down.
It's like crazy. But then there's this one couple, a cute little young couple. And that girl kind of brings it up to her husband one day and says, would you ever be curious to see who you're matched with? He's like, no, I'm already been matched. You're my match. You know, I chose you. You're the person that I want to be with. She's like, so you're never curious? He's like, no, not at all. I think guys aren't as curious about those things as women, I think, are, because I think we're wired to like, not everyone, I'm not saying everyone, but I think women just naturally we're wired to have that fairy tale love. And you see what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
That's a good point.
I don't think guys think about it as much as females do. I could be wrong. I don't know.
I was thinking that scenario, he probably had a really wild young life and she didn't. And now she's like, I'm trying to find out what's up.
Well, here's what she does. She takes a sample of his hair, sends it off to see who his match is. Mm-hmm. She gets the match. And then she starts to go befriend the girl. And she becomes friends with her. Well, she starts hanging out with her just to get to know her, to see how she is, because she feels like maybe she needs to learn how she is so that her husband never is tempted to find his match.
Oh, that would drive you more crazy than finding your own
That's
match.
why I said, wait till you watch that shit. It gets crazy with that shit.
Yo,
Trust me.
Just bring her along. Go grab a pineapple from the grocery store.
I mean, exactly. It is insane. I mean, because if you think about it, so many people now, if you think about it, now you can kind of create whatever child you want. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you want a blue-eyed kid, it's possible to bring it in there because you go find someone with that gene. You know what I'm saying? So it's like all these little things are happening already. So it's only a matter of time before that really happens. And it was crazy because I started thinking to myself, oh my God, I feel her. I wouldn't have looked for the girl. Like I wouldn't have sent like if I were her, there's no way, because why would you provoked that? Does that make sense?
Because we're all like, we're masochists. Like, we're gluttons for punishment sometimes. We like the pain of some of that stuff.
And she set herself up for this because he ends up throwing her a surprise birthday party. And this friend, her yoga friend, Megan from yoga, right?
Always Megan from yoga.
Right? He takes her phone and calls Megan and says, hey, we're having a surprise birthday party for her. Please come out to the bar. So when she shows up, she sees all her normal friends. And then she shows up a little late and she gets so nervous, but her best friend knows. Her best friend caught her
doing
this shit. So she had to tell her best friend what she did. And so it's crazy because she goes out, like they go to the patio, they kind of talk it out. She had to get it together. She's like, I need a fucking drink right now. And it takes place in London, so they have the European accent, you know?
I like it.
So anyway, so she has to come back in and play it off, like, you know what I'm saying? And then she's like trying to like, hey, I don't feel well. You know, should we leave now? Because she doesn't want them to have a conversation at all. Mm-hmm. But the crazy thing is that it's almost like immediate when you shake that person's hand and you just kind of say hi. There's like this weird connection.
Oh, yeah.
And so they said hi to each other and they didn't know why there was this like weird connection.
Yeah, the spark.
Yeah, the spark. And so he kind of walks away like, what was that about? And she kind of walks away like, well, what's that about? That's my friend's husband. Like, this is weird. You know what I'm saying? So, she set it up. She caused this shit. You see what I'm saying? It's like you caused it. And then she ends up having to tell him what happened.
Bro, we're spoiling this for all of us.
Well, listen, I did, but I haven't 100% because I'm at the point where I don't know what's going to happen now.
Okay.
That's where I'm at, where she had to admit what happened.
Okay.
But it's so insane. So it's just like it gets crazier and crazier and crazier because they had to go through so much to get DNA at the very beginning to test this out.
Yeah.
Because it was something that was just not heard of, you know? And then, I mean, this girl is insane. I mean, she's such a genius, you know? But how much longer before that does happen, Rob? If it's not already happening?
That I believe that it probably is something to that effect, but it actually opens up another conversation. And I was actually thinking about this the other day because so many of us, the world has been locked down, right? Let's just talk about our country in the United States. With things like Tinder and Bumble and all these things, you know, that's as if it wasn't already at a peak, at a high, and like it's even higher now, I would think, because you're not going anywhere, right? How are you meeting people? How are you interacting with the opposite sex or same sex if you're into that? And it's weird because we're always chasing that thing that we felt when we, you know, our first kiss or our first hookup or whatever. Once that's passed, like you'll never feel that high again. You know, the first butterflies, the first spark, right? And then you get married and you get together and it's awesome. But something about like the human conditioning is that you're always, and that's why communicating with your spouse is so important, you know, having
for sure
the date nights, having the communications, the open lines of communication, because you want to keep that at an all-time high as often as possible. Otherwise that human conditioning takes over of like, where is that, you know, feeling that, you know, spark that I constantly felt before, and you kind of go seeking for it like this chick was seeking it, I guess.
Yeah. You know, what's funny you say about that is I know that there's still that because when Pete goes out of town and I have to go pick him up from the airport, I still want to get cute.
You're giddy.
I'm giddy. Like I still want to like, I fix my hair, I do my makeup because I don't want to go pick him up looking like shit. Like he's been gone.
You always remember your dad when you're like going
exactly
out.
Right. And then I'm just like, well, God, he's hadn't seen his wife like for a couple of days and I'm just gonna go pick him up looking like shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's funny you say that because it's like, that's still there. And then I was telling him the other day I was getting my nails done and my favorite song is the Grill's song that he did. It was a remix of it. It was only done here in Houston. It was like something that him, Paul Wall, and they did a remix here. He was a part of it. And so it was my favorite. And my guy best friend at the time, he would always make fun of me. And he bought me the CD for Christmas, for my birthday, thinking that the remix song was on there, but it wasn't. And I was like, Chinga Bling's version is not on here. I was like, can we return this shit? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I don't even like Nelly or whoever.
Yeah, I think it was Nelly.
It is Nelly. And I was like, I don't even like him. Like, that was the only reason I liked that song was because Chinga Bling was on it, right? Well, I was looking up and it was the Grill's, video. And I just thought, whoa. I said, this is so weird because my best friend would make fun of me and say, watch you end up with Chingo Bling one day. And I'd be like, Chingo Bling is a rapper. I do not want to end up with a rapper. Can you believe that?
Now we have a portion of all the rappers in Houston in the studio.
It was funny because I was telling him, I was like, I loved him as an artist. Does that make sense? But I never thought to myself, I want to marry.
That's gonna be my baby daddy.
Yeah, exactly. You see what I'm saying? So it was like, yeah, whatever. I was like, he's a rapper. I don't marry rappers, right? So that's the crazy thing.
What kind of sentence is that to say?
Right? And so I was like, it was weird. I was watching. I was like, how fucking weird. I married the guy.
From that the music video.
Yeah, that we just jokingly would joke about because...
That's when you should have realized it was all a simulation.
And the thing is that I had already met him prior to that.
Oh, okay.
So we had met early in the 2000s. I had just moved back from College Station. We've told the story before. Mm-hmm. And our friend was throwing an event. He was rapping at the show. Right. We exchanged phone numbers. And it was just like, yeah, so this is probably not going to go anywhere. And... secondly, I'm not like out there, like probably like the girls that he's into. I was out there, but I wasn't out there like that, if that makes sense. I wasn't like...
skeptical hippo eyes over here, Mariswole.
No, I wasn't like showing ass and, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't like... my boobs weren't hanging out. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I think whatever style you like. But I wasn't somebody I feel like at that time he was in his prime. So he was looking for the easy hoes.
Hey,
does that make what I'm saying?
They make the world go around. He was looking for that WAP.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all good. And it's really weird because I never thought, when my friend was like, I met your soulmate. And when she called me and told me that I was exiting a relationship, I said, no, I'm going to be by myself for a hot minute. I was in a relationship for a very long time.
Yeah.
I just need to be by myself. She's like, I met your soulmate. And what I'm telling you is like, who? She's like, Chingo Bling. I'm like, what? No, you're fucking crazy. I'm not talking to Chingo Bling. I've already met him before. I was like,
he was rude.
I was like, no. This is the rude part happened after we worked together.
Oh.
He did an event for me. And so, I was like, I want to be by myself. Like, I haven't even been out of a relationship that long. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I need to go explore, like, who the fuck else is out there? You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm not just trying to get hooked up. And so she's like, gosh, I really wish that you would just go on a date with him. Like, we can do a double date. And I was just like, I'll let you know. And I was like, and I'll let you go because it's pretty late at night and I got to get up for work tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Type of thing. And so the next day, it's funny. She's like, she texts me. She's like, so did you think about it? I said, absolutely not. Like, it wasn't even like,
God,
it wasn't
you just blew her off.
It was like, it wasn't even like, oh yeah. By the way, what was up with that phone call last night? It wasn't even like that. It was like, I got up, got ready to go to work and went about my day. Everything. Yeah, exactly. Excuse me, guys.
Whoa.
I don't know what I had.
Did you have some salsa or what?
No, I've only had coffee. Maybe because I've only had protein pancakes. Man, I've been forgetting to eat good. I'm telling you right now, that's not good. I'm pregnant. I know. We talked about this the other day.
You're not eating good and you're stressed? Come on.
I know.
Not a good combo.
Exactly.
Wait, so did y'all go on that double date ever? Or?
We did, but it was only because we needed to discuss logistics about the event that he was going to be my DJ at. Okay.
How funny.
And it was even then. And then I didn't like the way he talked to me. So we were already not. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, bitch, I am like, we are working together we're working together.
Yeah.
Like, I ain't trying to hook up with you. So I don't know what you're thinking here. Like, because the way he was talking to me, I did not like it at all. And
where'd y'all go?
We went to a wings place because that's where my friend set it up. She's like, hey, I have to meet him there to give him some shirts. Because remember, her husband used to do his screen printing for his T-shirts. And she's like, so come here so that we can talk about the Zumba event. I was like, all right, that's fine. Really far out of my way further than I wanted to travel because it was on his side of town. And I was like, who the fuck lives out here? I was like, this is so damn far. I live in the burbs. You know what I'm saying? So this was like really far from me. I was like, so, okay, I finished teaching Zumba at 7:30. By the time I get over, I'm like all calculating.
Man, you were doing everything not possible not to meet your soulmate.
Yeah, right? Isn't that weird? And then it was like, and then we started talking and it was like, and I still avoided him. So that ended. We never talked again. We talked here and there. We would text. It's nothing at all. I came back from Aruba from a trip. My aunt got married in Aruba. my girlfriend's birthday was happening, and I specifically said, Yaneth, are you inviting Chingo Bling? And she said, yeah. She said, yes. I said, okay. Then I'm only going to go to the party part of your party. I'm not going to go to the dinner part, right? Because he was going to go into the dinner part, but not the after part. Mm. So I was wanting to do the opposite because I didn't want to have to sit there with him, right? And so she's like, okay. So then I guess she thought about it. She goes, hey, he called. He said he can't make it. He's got another event. I said, okay, cool. Then I'll be there for the dinner. So I'm sitting there being waited to and there's like a couch like this at the place where we're going to have dinner. Uh-huh. I'm sitting there waiting and I have her gift and I'm on my phone and I'm just like this. And then I look up and I see him walking in and I get furious. I'm like boiling up inside because I'm so mad at my friend and she's not there yet. I'm like, this little fucking bitch. I said, she knew what she was doing. She did this shit on purpose. I told her I didn't want to meet him. I don't want to. It wasn't so much specifically him. I just didn't want to meet anybody right now. I've only been out of a relationship, I think, for like 4 months. Wasn't that long? I mean, it is long, but to me, it was like, I just kind of wanted to be doing my own thing for a minute. You see what I'm saying? Like, just wanted to be out and about.
Just out and about. You know? That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah. I just kind of wanted to see like, okay, well, I've been long, almost 8 years. You know what I'm saying? Mm. So it was like, I just want to go.
You got to take at least a year to yourself.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. I was like, fuck yeah. I want to like party it up back again. You know what I'm saying? Even though I wasn't even in party mode. But
you like peeing.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to like, I did like, wanted to go on a little trip by myself. Like I had never taken a trip by myself, but it was always something on my bucket list to do because I wanted to see what that was like.
Totally by yourself?
Just totally by myself.
You ever seen Hostel?
Yeah, a long time ago.
That's probably why you shouldn't take a vacation by yourself.
I just kind of wanted to do it. I've always wanted to. I think that if I would have never met him, like if this wouldn't have happened,
you just would have been a traveling nomad.
I wanted to try it a little. I wanted to do a backpacking thing I wanted to try it one time just to check it off my bucket list. Like I wanted to see what it was like to live out of a backpack, to see if I could even do it and see where in my little journey it would not work out up until. Because I know myself. I know that I can't.
To the point where you got out of Texas and you're like, I'm going to turn around and go back.
No, I wanted to do a Europe backpacking thing. I had already looked it up, like how it worked. And when I looked it up, I was like, sharing a shower with other people in these hostels. I don't know if that's going to work for me. And then it was like, ooh, that budget, like, cause you have to be on a strict budget cause you're just moving,
right.
moving. And it's like, wait, well, that's the point of going somewhere. It's like exploring the food, you know what I'm saying? Exploring like the markets and, you know, cause you obviously
strangers.
Yeah, exactly. But you can't backpack with souvenirs. So what the fuck, your souvenirs is your pictures. So you see what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, okay, so that's why I hadn't like really planned it out. Trust me, I was already looking into it. Like, I don't have no kids. I'm still good. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, this is something I want to think about it, maybe. Anyway, so I was furious that she had done that. And I was like, all right, I'm going to fucking just tell her little ass off. And then how we sat, she almost like did it on purpose. But I was like, fuck this shit. I'm going to piss her off and I'm going to sit on the other end of the table because she kind of had little name things, right? For the dinner. Dinner was a smaller group of people. Excuse me. The party was open to
this
the
is
rest.
A wedding?
No. She kind of wanted the dinner to be small so that she could talk to her close friends.
Oh, okay, cool.
And then the actual party part of it, drinking and all of that was in the outside. It was like at a Dave and Buster's type thing,
okay,
where she was able to reserve like the food area and then you could just go and hang out. Anyway, so I was like, fuck that. I'm not sitting where I'm supposed to be sitting. I'm going to go sit over there where her cousins are so that she knows what she did. You know what I'm saying? Well, she purposely said it on purpose. Like, hey, your chair's over here. What am I going to say? No, I don't want to sit over there. I mean, how old are we now, Mariswole? You see what I'm saying?
How old were you? That's actually a good question.
34.
Bro, you're being real aggressive at 34 to not make this happen.
And so then it was like, we started chit-chatting. And then when we started chit-chatting, I wish I could find that picture. I know I have to have it somewhere in in the iCloud because I saved it. They took a picture because I'm talking and he's so intrigued, but we're like the conversation, the picture that they took was like, we were both like into it. And it was so crazy because I remember thinking like, how the fuck do we have that much in common?
How the fuck did I get here?
This is not possible. I was like, this is bullshit. And I think like after that, we kind of didn't know where this was going. Like he would text me randomly and then I'd be like, I don't really know what he's doing. But he thought that I was still trying to get like back into my relationship. As we talked about it later, he thought, well, you were so new out of your relationship. I thought maybe the reason you were kind of like not really wanting to chit chat was because, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You were like trying to get back. Absolutely not. That wasn't even what I was trying to do was to explore out there. You see what I'm saying? I didn't know what was up, but he had already been single for a minute. So he was down to like meet someone already. You see what I'm saying?
Do you remember the conversation?
We were talking about investments. Is that not us? Yeah. We were talking about investments. And I just told him how like I was trying to get out of my rental house. Like I just want to sell it. So I'm in the process. Like I don't know if I want to move back into it. Like I was like, we were talking about that and he was like, yeah. And he was telling me about his rentals. And so we were kind of like talking about that stuff. So obviously that alone, the fact that you can talk to somebody about shit like that, it's kind of like, oh, wow, you know?
Sounds like he had that DNA strand.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, this is so weird that we have this much in common. You know what I'm saying? And then that was it. And then when we it was his birthday party. Here's the funny thing. Here's his birthday party. Hennessy, I think, was sponsoring that event or something like that. And so I went to go help his sisters kind of decorate. And the guy that was there, was trying to talk to me. And he goes, so are you Chingo's sister also? And I was like, no. It's like, oh, okay. So he was trying to ask me for my number. And I said, no, Chingo and I are just friends. And so I didn't know what we were. You know what I'm saying? He didn't say, you're my girlfriend. I mean, yeah, we had been seeing each other, but we never just said we're exclusive. He said he assumed that I was supposed to know that. I'm like, no, like, you know what I'm saying? You got to tell somebody like, hey, like, so are we exclusive? It's like, really? That's what goes. It's like, I hadn't dated in a long time. It's like, how was I supposed to know? But anyway, my point is I had said, hey, so that guy's like trying to talk to me. I was like, and I told him you and I were friends. And he just kind of turned around. He's like, we're friends. Do you think I tell a friend of mine to come help my sisters decorate my party? And I was like, oh, so we're not just friends? And then he was like, oh, I didn't think we were. He's like, I didn't know that you did things with your friends like you and I have done. And I was like, okay, well, I guess that's how you're asking me to be your girlfriend then. I guess that's how it is.
That's what it is.
And then after that, we like legit, it was like, okay, I kind of understood now. And then he started staying in my apartment and it just kind of turned into like he never left.
He left one thing, left another thing.
He never left anything. It was more like he was staying consecutive days. He'd go to his house, do what he needed to do. I'd go to work. And then he'd call. I was training for a competition. So for me, it was kind of a little bit more like, well, whatever you want to do. If you don't want to come spend the night, that's fine also. Because my workouts for me, it's weird because now I don't even know how I did that. My workouts for me, I like to go at 9 in the evening to the gym because more than likely the machines were pretty empty and I could go do supersets, go back from one machine to another without having to worry about if anybody was going to take it and so forth. So, and I like to be left alone. I like to take about an hour and 30 minutes because I like to take my time, breathe, kind of concentrate. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you're kind of like...
It's meditation.
It's meditation for me. You know what I'm saying? So I don't like to be rushed. So I kind of like didn't always like, if he was like, I'm not coming over, I'd be like, okay, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? I never was like, well, why? You know what I'm saying? It was like, great. Now I don't have to hurry up and leave the gym so that I can be there, you know what I'm saying, when he gets back. You see what I'm saying? So to me at the very beginning, I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. But he would come and stay and stay and stay. And then it was kind of like, then that's when he was like, so what are we kind of doing? And I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, you just kind of stay here. So I just like...
Let you.
Yeah. But his thing was like, I don't want to stay here and not pay no bills. That's where he was going with it. Not my thing was like, you was not paying no bills in here because you're not going to have a say in my house. So if I don't want you here, I want to be able to say you needs to leave. You know what I'm saying? That was my attitude at that time. You know what I'm saying? That's that little
Miss Independent.
Yeah. That I no longer, it's so silly now when I think about how my attitude was then, but it happens because you kind of feel like, I just got to have a relationship. You know, I don't want to deal with that mess again. I knew that the next person I dated, I wasn't going to do this 8-year relationship with. It was like, I need to know what direction we're going, because I'm not getting any younger. I didn't necessarily care to have children, but I knew that I wanted to marry one day. I knew that I wanted to be with someone for the rest of my life. Children was never like a priority for me, but having a partner to finish the rest of my life with was something I did want.
Well, if you rewind to that part where, you know, he says, which is that's exactly what I would have said. Do you think I invite my friends to help my sisters decorate my party? Like that, I'm sure gave you that butterfly effect that we were talking about. Like you're nervous, like you were thinking it, but no one had said it, and you're just kind of going with emotions, right? That type of like novelty is just, I wish we could bottle it up and spray people with it so they could feel that kind of joy that you would feel, the happiness that, you know, the real like giddiness that comes with that.
How do you keep that going though? How? Because dating is one thing. Like you can go out to dinner, that's fine. It's still cool and all, but I know that both of us, we always say we really should do date nights. We don't do any date nights and blah, 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 blah. And I think for both of us, we feel guilty that we work so much. Yeah. And so there's no time spent with Penny or Mickey, and we don't do enough family time. You see what I'm saying? We have such a good time when it's family time. It's almost like we feel like, well, why it be just you and I when it's so good, when it's all of us? You know what I'm saying?
Which is
Does
true.
That make sense?
It does. But to have those like late night, let's just say a year ago, you know, a couch conversation with a glass of wine.
Oh yeah, sure.
And it could just be talking about like business type stuff, you know, and then thinking about new ideas. And then just once that second glass of wine kicks in and those ideas are meshing and you're buying like domains on GoDaddy because you have ideas, like that's the new type of spark.
Is that what happens at your house, Rob?
100%, dude. We got so many domains that we're just like, man, remember that idea that we had?
Yeah, I feel you, because even now when I was like, oh man, I was like, I can't wait to have this baby. I was like, I just wanted to now be able to, I miss that. I miss he and I like sitting down and, you know, drinking, you know, having a glass of wine together. I mean, I can't have a glass of wine right now. You know, although they say in Europe, European women have them when they're pregnant, but we're not in Europe.
I'm not going to test that theory.
Yeah, I'm not testing it. I'm not going to be like, well, I wanted to see if it was true that something happens to my child, you know? So I miss those things. And I think that because we're a little bit older, I feel like maybe that, again, I started a little bit late. So that empty nester thing is probably not going to happen to me till I'm very old. So you just see what I'm saying? So for me, that's the reason why for me, it's so important that Penny stay on schedule to go to bed whenever I say to go to bed, because those last couple of hours before we go to bed is the time that we get to spend together. You see what I'm saying? And so,
and I think it builds upon habits too. Like I can take, for example, even my parents and other aunts and uncles and stuff that just, to me, like they aren't the best husbands they could be when it comes to like doing things together and going places together. And like, once I see that it's like that whole relationship thing is gone. It's just like, they're just an old married couple now. They're not like an old, like, you know, I don't expect them to be newlyweds by any means. Donald will know the shit on me every day, but I still couldn't imagine anybody else, being there when I get home. And then just, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if it's because we're like the Mexican thing, the machismo thing that maybe never quite goes away, that you just lose interest with your spouse after a while. I think to be like really lovey-dovey or to be like really into that person, it's a bummer. And I don't think modern Mexican-American type dudes will be that way. But if you grew up around that, you're more susceptible to just be like, no, ¿qué quieres? ¿Dónde quieres ir? ¿Qué quieres hacer? You know, it's like, why it shouldn't be a burden that, you know, she wants to do something with you or y'all want to do something together. It's just, it's unfortunate. And it's, you know, I feel bad for my aunts and sometimes my mom and stuff. It's just like, fuck, man, like that's a bad example to have as you're growing up.
It's funny you say that, because when my parents divorced, I remember my dad saying this. He's like, I'm not blaming the church. He's like, but I do blame the fact that we spent the majority of our time as a couple doing things for the church. We forgot about us. And so he feels like the reasons part of their marriage started kind of going to shit was because they missed that part. It was about their kids and it was about church and it was about handling their businesses. Yeah. And they forgot about themselves. which I don't want that to ever happen to Pete and I, because that's kind of how it is.
Yeah.
We we don't dedicate ourselves to church like that. So I'm going to take that back.
We just started revisiting.
We just started going to church again. I'm saying here, we started going to church about a year ago, but what I'm saying is it's like, we're not like into the way my parents were. My dad was the co-pastor of the church.
Way
my
different.
mom, yeah, exactly. So I think for us, what it has to do is that what helps us out is that we travel together for work. And that's where it's our alone time, where we don't have to wake up to take care of a child. You see what I'm saying? So it's us. We go do what we want to go do. We go to Starbucks. We go work out. Then we'll go back to Starbucks to work a little bit. And then it's like we go back to the room, we get ready, and then it's kind of like, okay, I leave him alone so that he can kind of start getting in his mode for performing. And I'll start getting ready, and it's like that's how we do. But it's weird because he said the other day, and I don't know if he just said it to be nice, he could just be saying it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes y'all be saying shit just to kind of be like, oh, because you want the girl to be like, oh. But he goes, I honestly couldn't, because I said, at some point I want to stay behind and I have to travel with you all the time. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to stay with the girls, And he just said, but gosh, I couldn't imagine like you not always on the road. And he's like, sometimes, he's like, a few times it's fine. He's like, but it's like, all the time, I can't see that. I can't see that. He's like, you're the person I do this little journey with for the past like, what is 6.5 years? Yeah. So he's like, so it's kind of like weird if it completely stopped. I said, well, I'm not saying I'm completely going to stop, but if I can stay back for a few of them, I'd like to be able to stay back. You know what I'm saying? Especially once the baby is born.
Yeah.
Because there's 2 kids staying behind. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
how soon did you leave Penny with Lisa or anybody?
It was almost a year.
Oh, damn. You're going to do that again?
Not even a year, because Penny turned a year old here, and I would bring Luisa with me, especially if we were going to go in Texas and we were driving somewhere. She was coming.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know what I think. I just kind of felt like, damn, I don't want to miss out on my child.
Yeah.
Like, I never forget. Oh my God. And I'm sure anybody else out there who's like, get over it, girl. But I never forget when she sent me a video and Penny ate solids for the first time. And I was out of town. I was so mad. I was like, she fucking ate solids with her first. It's the stupidest thing ever now when I think about it. But I was a first time mom. And so for me, it was like, wait, I was supposed to feed her solids. And I'm looking at Pete and I'm mad at Pete. And it's just like, there's nobody to blame. There's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
It's not like she walked on her own and I'm not here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It was kind of like, hey, here's the video. I don't want you to miss out on this. I'm going to show you that she can eat solids now. You see what I'm saying? Like, she's eating solid foods, So for me, it was like, oh my God, I missed out on that. Now, when I think about it was like, it's the silliest thing. You didn't. So the luxury, like I've always said, this is a very more expensive route to have a babysitter come to your house, right? But for me, it's a sacrifice that I take because it's the luxury that I have, that when I finish running my errands, I come home and she's here. Does that make sense? And I get to see her for a little bit while I have lunch or whatever I'm doing at home. And then I'll come back here to the office and do whatever I need to do. But if I want to go in my house at any point from us working back here, I can, because my child is always there. Versus if she went to daycare, it's like she's there from this time to this time. I just can't, I'm not going to go all the way to the daycare. It makes no sense when you drop a child off at a daycare for you to go pop in here and there to see what she's doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I totally, I know that I didn't miss out on a lot because I have her here, but would I have loved to stay back with her? Probably. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I think it's just the guilt. I don't know. I think it's a guilt of the mom not being able to do everything. And it's part of, I just told Pete, right now, Penny's barely noticing that I'm leaving, right? When she was younger, she had no idea. She just knew the only time we would have a hard time is I'd have to leave enough milk when I'd leave, so that because she would have to, feed her. And so she would be bottle fed because, you know what I'm saying, I wasn't here to give her my boob. So I'd have to make sure there was enough milk left behind so that when I came back, you know what I'm saying, we were on schedule with the breast milk and stuff. And so that's the only time Lisa would say that at night. And even then, Lisa would never babysit at night. I always had my mom on top of that. I didn't even trust Lisa. And I know, isn't that crazy?
I kind of remember that from the beginning.
I never trusted. Like, I was like, she's not staying at my house. My baby, what if she leaves with her? But he's like, don't nobody want your baby, girl. Nobody wants to start with a little baby. He's like, where does that idea? Yeah. I was like, have you seen that movie, Not Without My Daughter? Or what is it? The Hand That Rocks the Cradle? I was like, the babysit. Oh my God.
No, never.
Rob, I forget that you're so young. Watch that old school movie where it's the damn nanny in there. Starts trying to pretend to breastfeed this baby. Hell nah. Yeah, it's called The Hand That Rocks the Cradle.
Okay.
It's crazy. It's a freaky movie. So it's a long time ago, but it was like, I was like, I just couldn't do it. So my mom helped out at night, and I'd be like, I'm going to start hitting the road again. Can you please start helping out at night? So I said, Luisa will take the morning shift. Can you take the night shift? And so that was how we did it for a very long time. And then one time my mom couldn't do it. She was out of town. And I was like, oh my God, my palms were sweaty.
Mom spaghetti.
I was exactly. I was so nervous the whole time. I just kept calling and texting and calling and texting, and to where I think she started sending me pictures and videos so that I'd stop. So that I could stop probably calling her and then that's how it started. But it was almost like Penny was almost going to be a year old before I allowed her to stay with her her like overnight. And then, or did it happen? No, Rob, I think it happened after she turned a year old.
Jeez.
Because we were in LA for a hot second. And that was going to be kind of like the beginning of her coming with us to test this whole having her watch her like that. But we ended up deciding to fly versus driving. So, that's how that happened. But yeah, that's kind of how it happened. And I think now that I trust her without my heart now. Now it's different, So now I don't have a hard time like leaving the baby with her. But I'd like for the baby to be at least 6 months before I take off again on the road.
That makes sense.
Which 3 months of it, you already can't do much. You're pretty much out. And then it'd just be the other 3 months that I'd probably would stay behind, which if you think about it, we usually don't start touring anyway until about March of the following year. And
it's a pretty good time.
Yeah. And Pete this year ends the majority of his dates locally here in Texas. So, and they're all at the Improvs, which means I don't necessarily have to go. So
that's good.
Yeah.
You work on all the things we were talking about before the podcast.
Exactly. So that's why I feel like it kind of, that's kind of how I planned it with Penny too. It was like, okay, we end the tour this day. If I get pregnant on this day, Pete, then we can, I know people are always like, you planned your pregnancy, like scheduled it. I'm like, kind of yes and kind of no.
It was necessary.
It was like I needed to know that I had to, like my girlfriend Ranya's like, but you can't plan those things. Do you understand that? Like all kind of, I was like, I know that. I'm not necessarily saying it has to happen like this, but I'm just saying I knew that if the baby was born in July, we usually stop touring around October. So that means that it would just be 2 months that I wouldn't travel with him. He could handle those 2 months. And then I'd be able to plan the next tour. And then by the time the tour kicked off, I'd be okay to start going. Does that make sense? That's kind of what I mean by planning the pregnancy. And that's exactly what I did. This baby will be born in August. We finished touring in October, first week of November. And then we don't kick off until March again.
It kind of brings the conversation full circle. We started talking about before this was marriage and relationships and keeping it fresh. And I think now even with another kid on the way, like that spontaneity is so important, right? Like
totally
keeping things going. And this goes to listeners too. Like I know everybody kind of like falls short sometimes because we all get wrapped up in our lives. But man, if you're building something together with somebody and then that starts to dwindle, everything else you've been building together isn't going to last.
And you know what's crazy? Because we might be each other's match. I don't know. He and I have nothing to argue about when it's he and I. Does that make sense? if we didn't probably run a business together, like let's say he worked his 8 to 5 and I worked an 8 to 5, I don't know that we'd ever have anything to like debate or argue about.
Dude, it's just all the exterior noise.
Yeah, because we get along so great.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? As far as like us is concerned, like we get along so great. We joke together. We kind of like the same things. Our lifestyle is kind of similar. So does that make sense? So it's kind of like there's never like, that's why whenever we didn't have kids, it was totally different. You know what I'm saying?
Fun.
It was. I told him that the other day. He was like, geez, like our child's right here. I was like, I'm not saying I regret her. At no point did I say that. I'm just saying, I'm like,
we had a life before kids.
Like, we'd be up till 2 a.m. because it didn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like we'd go to bed. We'd still wake up early, but you know what I'm saying? We'd wake up, have our coffee and start the day. You know, Joseph would come in.
I don't know. Whatever you want to do.
Exactly. Joseph and Adrian came in at 12:30. We'd start working and then it was like, all right. Then it would be like the gym in the evening and I'd start meal prepping and it was like easier, obviously. You know what I'm saying? Especially because we only would get Mickey every other week. So, you know what I'm saying? It was like we had a whole week to ourselves and then we get our, his kid again. And so it was kind of like that. So it was easy at the very beginning. And then now it's obviously harder because we have a baby and then we have another one on the way. But our arguments or like disagreements, because I can't say that we sit there and like, fuck you, bitch. Like, it's not like that.
No.
You know what I'm saying? But like, if we have any disagreements, 99% of the time it's like, but if it's in your planner and I already told you what you had to do, why?
Why did you forget?
Why didn't you forget? Guys, hear me out. Ladies, if anybody's out there, y'all will get this. So Mickey was on spring break, right? We were supposed to get her Thursday, right? Okay. So that Thursday, his sister also had planned like a Taco Thursday type thing. So we were going to all go hang out over there. So I forget where I'm at. And he calls me. He's like, so was I supposed to pick up Mickey today? I was like, yes. When we go to Dalila's house, she lived in the same subdivision as his sister. Mm-hmm. When we go to Dalila's house, we're picking her up on the way. Then we're going to go have dinner. Remember? Yeah, I didn't. He went to school to pick her up. There was no kids, no line. He's waiting outside the school. I said, she's on spring break. We talked about this. I said, where's your planner? Well, I didn't bring it with me because I was doing TikToks with Joseph. I said, well, I'm not sure then. And I'm talking like this. And this is what I know annoys him the most.
100%,
right?
dude.
And I said, well, then I'm not sure what the purpose of your planner is and the purpose of you writing anything down if you're not going to remember. I was like, if carrying a planner is too much for you, then maybe take a picture of it so that you can reference throughout your day. And he's just like, all right, so I'll see you in a bit. And that's all he said. Because now this checkout didn't make sense. He drove all the way to Pearland. Now he had to sit in traffic to come all the way back to pick us up because now we got to go all the way back to his sister's house because by the time he made it back, it was 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay, 5:15. His dinner at his sister's house was at 6 o'clock. So we get there late anyway. You know what I'm saying? Because by the time we go back, we're sitting in traffic too to go head to Pearland again. Yeah. So all he did was go to Pearland, come back to Houston, and then we went back to Pearland in traffic, in 5 o'clock traffic. I was just like, I don't get it. And when I was telling Marissa about it, because I don't know why we even got on that subject, I was like, she's like, gosh, I feel like you're talking to me. She's like, I'm so unorganized like that. She's like, I'm trying to get it together. I said, Marissa, no. I said, you can't be a business owner and a mom and be that unorganized. It's not going to work. I said, you have to be super organized. I'm working on it. Damn, bitch. I'm working on it. I said, you need to come over and you need to sit down. I need to show you like how to manage it. And literally when somebody's trying to add something to your day, you need to politely say, I can't today because XYZ, like I have this already planned.
Schedule's full.
Yeah, schedule's full. You know what I'm saying? But I am available whatever other day. You know what I'm saying? I had to learn on the hard way because I'd try to add stuff to make business happen,
Oh, yeah.
right? And so you want to be successful, so you'll take on things business wise and you'll add it more to your day. And then your days, were you really productive? Probably not, because you added that extra thing in your day. That's why I use my planner and I write it down. I'm telling you, it's as little as this. We have Brianda on here to, for our next episode that she's going to come and talk to us. So I have on my notes today, reach out to Brianda to confirm podcast for tomorrow. I know it's a silly note. Like, why do you need to write that down? Because I need to write it down. That's the way my brain works. And I told Marissa, it's like, you have to find what works for you. And she's working on that because she's good. She sent me her little, she's so funny. She sent me, she goes, I feel like such a grown up. She sent me her Excel spreadsheet that she sent over to the accountant, how she was going to send her stuff, had her tax ID at the top with the name. And I said, okay, see? And she's like, I feel so grown up. And it's just so funny.
Marissa, you're 40 as fuck. Get it together.
She's so funny. She had me cracking up.
She's a trip.
Oh my God. Speaking of that shit. Okay. And today was such a random podcast, right? As most of the ones that I do solo are always so random.
Oh, they're great.
And someone said on there, they're like, you literally, left a comment on the YouTube and said, I love that you talk about everything. Like literally, it's like anything you can think of, this conversation. I know, because that's literally how I am in person. Like
Yep.
I am all over the place because my brain is like, I told Peter, I was like, I wish this little hamster would just stop one day. Like, can he just stop running? Like, I just need him to like chill, eat cheese. I don't know. Like,
feed him some wine. You got to get
like,
feed him some
man,
wine.
just calm the fuck down for a second. But what was that? See, now
We're talking about Marissa, and then you said it's funny.
Oh, you know how we talked about, somebody else said I got them hooked on the white underbelly documentaries because we were talking about them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're still in my queue there.
Yeah.
My saved.
So it gives, because YouTube will say you suggested or whatever. I found another one. It made me so sad, Rob, because this girl is on like meth, or I forgot what fucking drug it is. She's pregnant though, and she's still on drugs. And I said, where's this baby gonna go? So I left a comment on there. I said, do you know where she's putting her baby up? I said, if she has nowhere to I said, drop off that baby. I said, I will take the baby. I left a comment. This guy responds to me. He's like, can you text me at this phone number? We found her again. And it looks like she's gonna need a place for this baby. And I told Pete, he's like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, you're pregnant with a baby. I just can't imagine, like,
all right, you're cut off from YouTube.
What in the world? Because I go down these rabbit holes,
I understand.
y'all. And it's just like, people are so fucked up out there. They're so fucked up. There's so much help. Check out this homeless guy that I found though. And check this out.
On Instagram?
On YouTube. It's his
Okay.
story on there. He had money at one point. He said he was a millionaire. I don't know how true that is.
Okay.
But I'm going to go ahead and go with this story.
Sounds a little mathy, but go ahead.
Wherever he had his money, that institute, because that's all he said, basically went bankrupt, and that was it. His money was gone. So he had $6,000 in like a rinky-dink, like a regular bank, right? That's all he had. So we're talking about boats, houses. He built his house, I think, in South Carolina, like somewhere. So he had like $1 million house, because obviously it was cheaper to build there. But he had all this money, right? And so he slowly had to start selling all his shit, right? To kind of survive and so forth, to the point where he ended up homeless. He went to go live with his dad. He came back. This is taking place in Oakland, California. Comes back to live with the dad. The dad has some kind of colon cancer or something, dies. I guess the dad didn't leave shit to him, or that part didn't get specific. So he kicks out. He has nowhere to go. So now he goes and hides in this little, you know how sometimes warehouses, there'll be like this little alleyway where no one ever really drives through there, where he hid there. They found him there. And then it was kind of like he started a tent community. But this is not just any tent community, bro. We're talking about, he made sure like everybody threw their trash away, like no stinky shit. Like, it's such a nice neighborhood. It's a fucking neighborhood. He did such a good job of doing it. He's trying to run for mayor now of Oakland. But he made great points. Check this out. He said, if they just took some of this money, right? And found some kind of housing. I mean, he has a very good plan and it makes total sense on how those tax dollars could work, right? But mayors, and they'd rather use these tax dollars on other bullshit that doesn't really matter. But all the people that live in his neighborhood, in his tent neighborhood, they all have jobs.
What?
It's just so expensive to live in California.
That's true.
They can't afford to have a house. They all have jobs. He has a job. Everybody that lives there has a job. Well, the city came and realized how fucking great he was doing. They put a wash station and a shower there for them, and it's kept up. Everybody has a duty there. Check this out. Everybody's responsible for cleaning that toilet. He has it on point. So he's got this plan in his head. I mean, everything he talks about makes total sense. And I'm like, well, he's got it figured out. Why hasn't anybody else figured out? Well, do you know why it is? Here's what I think it is. He's actually lived the homeless life.
Yeah.
So he understands it and knows what is needed and how it needs to be handled, because he talks about the addiction, about how many people have the addiction and how that works. But everybody that lives in his little space and they're all lined up nicely. When they first started off, one person was in charge of cooking, making sure that everybody had food. They were sharing it first. It wasn't like this stealing stuff. Okay. It was.
Somebody needs to hire this guy, like, for a big.
I have to show you this video because it's insane how he has it figured out. I mean, they were cooking for each other. There's somebody that does security, so nobody steals. Like, no homeless from the other communities can come.
The other encampments.
Yes, like the ones that don't take care of their area can come in and fuck up their shit. So, I mean, he legit had it all planned out. And I thought to myself, whoa. But he says the city they don't see that as an investment. You can house people with very little money building these little container homes, or a little what are those called, those mini houses. Why can't I think
Tiny
of it?
house?
Tiny house.
Yeah.
And actually house these people, but the goal is not to house them forever. The goal is to help them get on their feet. When they get on their feet, they're out, because now there needs to be a new person that comes in. So he pretty much kind of tells you how this could work. And when he said that he's talked to them about him, because they came to him and said, well, damn, you're keeping it together here. Shit, we're going to go ahead and put this wash station for you, since you're keeping this area nice. They've not kicked them out because they keep it so nice. Nobody messes with nobody. Those that have cars know where to park, and someone's responsible for watching the cars at night. They're security. It's somebody that lives in the tents, but they have like their own little system. It's like, can you imagine if everybody in your community worked together, how life would be? If you just took the time to watch out for thy neighbor, you see what I'm saying? If we just kind of took that time, how great life would be. It would literally be this perfect little life, to where the government would be like, no, you can't live that life. Like, we got to fuck you up.
Well,
like,
that's why we need our own compound, to have the people that we actually care for live in it.
Man. And that's basically what he did.
Yeah.
It's homeless people that just care about each other, and they're each other's family, like legit each other's family. But the crazy thing is they all have jobs. Like, they're not dirty homeless. They all have jobs. They go work in the day, they come back, that's their house, that's what they can afford. But they shower, they're bathed, they brush their teeth. They're not like,
well, look, whenever you're ready to find like 100 acres, maybe 200 acres, build a couple houses on there, start this compound. Like, I've been talking about this with Dawn for like ever.
It's got to, like, we've got to work together like that. It has to.
Yeah, that's how we started. This whole like civilization was small tribes, helping one another and going from there.
I just hope that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. With the world being so fucked up right now, I think we forgot about just being humans and how we should just kind of watch out for each other, because, and I've said this before in our podcast, it's like, if we don't watch out for each other, no one's going to watch out for us, because technically the government's not, they want you to be in this fucked up cycle, because that's how they keep making their
money.
They make a living. Yeah. So if they don't have anything to supposedly work on or supposedly fix or serve, then what's their purpose? None whatsoever. And that's the problem that, I feel like it happens. You know what I'm saying? It's like everybody's so easy to judge, and so, we're so quick to make statements about things, yet you've probably never lived whatever is you're judging, first of all. And I guarantee that the percentage of people who could actually give an opinion about that have actually experienced it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like, man, I just feel like it's been really weird, and it's really weird how we're so against each other right now. Is that not weird?
No, it is. And I think Reagan had a really good speech in a good line in an old speech where he said, the 9 scariest words you can ever hear from a politician is, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help." Yeah. And then here we have Mr. Joseph Rahim Biden is like, well, help is here, help has arrived. And then Kamala landing in Florida saying, Florida, I'm here to help us here. The freest state of all 50 states? Come on.
It's so crazy. I'm really excited about going out of town this weekend.
Yeah, it should be interesting for y'all.
I am very excited about speaking to Congresswoman Monica Contreras, I think is her last name. I could be wrong. That's probably not her last name. Oh,
but
check that again. But it's Monica. She is a Republican congresswoman. But if I know that everybody thinks that this, what do you call it? Border crisis is something Biden is fixing. And I too thought that Trump fucked that up. I had no idea that it was something that Biden and Obama administration had done. I didn't know. Like I legit. This was the first time Trump, not the second time he ran, but the first time I couldn't believe he won. I didn't want, obviously it's like, are you kidding me?
Who built the cages, Joe?
Exactly. When he legit, by that time I already knew what had happened, but prior to that, I didn't know. And so when I started reading, I was like, wait a minute, these fuckers did it before. And here I was blaming Trump this whole time. I was like, this motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't stand his ass.
They pulled a sheet over your head.
Yeah. And I just couldn't believe that this had been done. I forgot who had told me that too, who made the comment. And I was just like, Trump did this. Why are y'all saying Obama did this? You know what I'm saying? Then when I started reading about it, it was like, what? And granted, Trump was trying to fix the issue. Okay, he didn't fix it fast enough. I get it totally, but at least he was doing something to stop this. The amount of children that are being trafficked over here is insane. The amount of women being worked is insane. The overflow, 700 and something %.
Oh, it's thousands.
It's crazy. And everybody has fucking shitty ass comments to leave on my husband's Instagram page and Facebook page. Oh, now you care? No, it's not that now he cares. Is that now he understands.
Right.
And now he knows what really is going down over there and how this is really affecting raza, quote unquote, right?
I mean, these border towns are getting it the worst.
Man. And so I'm very excited that we're going to have footage for people to actually see what's going to happen, what's happening out there. We're going to have firsthand people that are trying to figure out how to fix this issue. And it is becoming sad. And it's more sad that they think that this is something is continuing to happen because Trump created it. And if you haven't figured it out, that's not what happened,
I can't help you.
I don't know what to tell you.
If you don't know that it was the most secure border over the last 4 years and history, then I can't help.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. And I was you a couple of years ago. I was that person that how dare Trump, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I was that person, and I'm so glad I understand it now. And I can't believe I saw this video, and I know it hit me, but I know it hit me more because of the hormones, because I'm pregnant. But the lady was walking and she had her baby in the rebozo. And I'm just thinking to myself, you have that baby wrapped on your chest. Do you understand what risk I get it. I totally get it that you're coming over here for a better life. But listen, you are running over here because this administration told you they're going to have it good and ready for you. And then they're lying to you. And that's not what happened. And now you have this infant, Rob.
I can't even imagine.
I can't. My baby, I can't imagine putting Penny through that. I can't imagine my new baby going through something like that. Like, I just saw it and they're just walking in this desert area. And I'm just like, what? No, guys, why don't we see that this is a problem? It has got to stop. Like this administration is fucking us. They're so fucking us.
Yeah.
And they're doing the total opposite of what they said they were going to do. And I can't believe no one has realized that yet. And it's everybody's little comments on his Instagram. And it's like, they're trying to fix what Trump did.
That's so dumb.
No, they fucked up. They reversed what he had already done.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying, like, it's sad that we don't understand it. And again, that's why I told Pete, we both said this the other day. We said, you can't be mad at them and you can't, you know what I'm saying? You can't.
You only know what you consume.
Exactly.
Like what's given to you.
And I told him, I said, exactly. I said, because that would have been me probably making a comment on someone's post because I didn't 100% understand what was going on. But if you look further into it and understand what was going on, and again, Trump was not the perfect president. You know what I'm saying? We've talked about this before. You know what I'm saying? But he had done so many other changes that have fixed a lot of these issues, and now it's just an open border. It's just an open border. And how are we going to fix this fucking pandemic situation if you're not even testing people for COVID and they're coming over from, you know what I'm saying, Guatemala and all these other countries, right?
Or you do test them and they test positive and you still release them into the border towns.
And then what?
And
And you're just going to let it spread.
Dude, yeah.
Is this what your plan was, Biden? You don't want us to get back to work.
That pobrecito, he's an old ass man that
I feel so bad for him. I really do. Me da lástima because
Está malito.
They're fucking him. All they're doing is using him as this front so that he can finally say, I can't do this anymore. And Kamala's going to take over and it's not going to be any better. I hate to say it. It's not going to be any better.
We obviously as Americans, we hope that it is. We hope it's the best outcome possible.
Obviously, of course.
But if we're, objectively looking at it, it's not looking good.
And it's like when Kamala was getting on the plane, she didn't even salute.
Yeah. And I think that was the same scenario where they asked her, like, are you going to go to the border? She's like, not today. Ha, ha, ha. With her fucking cackle.
Yeah, I know.
She's like, I mean, I've been and I'm sure I'll go again. Like, what kind of fucking response is that? I don't know. We spent an hour talking about this.
I know. And why haven't they gone down to the border?
You can't cover it. Like they put like a gag order on. That's why we originally didn't think you were going to be able to talk to anybody because they don't want any info kind of coming out.
Well, I can't believe this lady called me back because whenever I talked to her, her manager, her campaign manager, she basically said it was going to be set up as just a podcast interview. Mm-hmm. So that's all I thought it was. And she called me back shortly after. And because we had a little convo. I said, initially we're going to go down there. We're going to be able to do a ride along. We're going to be able to sit down with the Border Patrol and kind of show people what was happening. I said, but that didn't happen. I said, so, we'd still want to talk to someone out here who's having to deal with it firsthand, And so they reached out and it was just going to be a podcast. And she said, hey, I listened to what you said, and I talked to Monica, and we thought that we'd love to be able to help you guys so that you guys can put this content out there and really show what's happening. And we have a connect. And she's like, and they're willing to give you guys a ride along. She goes, but I want you to know. She sent me a text just a little bit ago, and she goes, I want you to know that this ride along could be 3 to 4 hours because we don't know what will happen on the ride along. I said, wait the fuck a minute, I'm pregnant.
Yeah, for real. Let's
where am I going to sit? I'm going to sit in the trunk of the car because I am not risking myself. I'm like, I told Peter, she said it's going to be, because at first it was like, we have an hour. They're going to the show. We didn't even know. Oh. I only reached out to her because someone left a comment on the What Did He Said podcast account. So I said, we didn't get that whole opportunity got canceled. It'd still be great to talk to someone who's dealing with this firsthand, And like I said, anytime I talk about something, it's not because I want to convince or sway anybody to think anyway. I just want people to know like what is happening. And if I can just, like I said, maybe make you look into something, and regardless, keep your opinion of what it's you. Everybody has the right to whatever opinion you want to have, whether you agree with me or disagree with me. It doesn't matter to me, because if you just take the little bit of time to kind of look into it, and it kind of just for a little bit makes you, right?
Yeah.
And then as you continue to along the way, because that's exactly what happened to me,
Yeah.
right? It was like, that's
Baby
odd.
steps, baby
yeah,
steps.
baby steps. Exactly. I was like, okay, now that story's odd. That's how it happened to me. You know what I'm saying? And that's where my curiosity started kicking in, and that's where I went through these rabbit holes. But things like that are super important. And I was somebody that used to think like, well, why can't immigrants come here? What's the fucking problem? You know what I'm saying? Well, now I know what all the problems are, right? And now I know why my mom was always like against this thing, right? And so forth. And my mom actually was telling Pete the story about how when my dad first came over here, right? They came over here on a visiting visa, right? But my dad's plan was to work here. My mom didn't want to be here. She was like, wait a minute, we didn't talk about this. You said we were coming to visit. So my dad ends up using, I think, my mom's uncle's social security number, who was a citizen here. And so then he had a friend that he started working with and said, hey, I really wouldn't suggest that you use someone else's social security number, because should some kind of law come in, you're not showing any type of like tax or like, so you can get an EIN number and still pay taxes on it regardless if you're not a citizen.
Right.
So he was like, I would really suggest that you do that. Then amnesty happened, and luckily when my dad did that, he made up a social security number, a random number. Okay. He made it up. When amnesty happened, right? And they said, you've been using this number? Yeah, you can keep it.
Oh, no
So my dad's social security number, kid you not, guys, is a made up social security number that he made up on his own.
That's hilarious.
And it was his. It became his number. Nobody was using it. No one had it. It was a made up number. So they said, you can keep that number, keep working under that number. So when he became a citizen, that was a social security number that from something that he made up. Is that not crazy?
That's nuts.
Right? That's how much different things have changed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I never understood when my mom would talk to me about those things, because I was so against the way she viewed things, because I felt like there's got to be a solution here. And at one point I thought that I was a criminal justice major before I decided to do sign language. And so I really thought I wanted to go into the immigration law, and because I really wanted to find ways to help. My mom used to always be like, okay, you know what I'm saying? This is a great thing. And then because to me it was like, there's got to be a solution. Now, I've always felt like you've got to close the border now. There's enough people here, right?
Yeah.
Let's find a solution for the ones that are here now. There's got to be a solution. Y'all motherfuckers got to pay some taxes.
Yeah.
It's not fair. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all pay taxes. We all work hard, just as hard as you do. You know what I'm saying? I know there's people out there that don't, but the majority of Americans, we work hard for everything we have, you know? We have to figure out a system. Like, something's got to give. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're here already. It's going to cost us just as much money to deport all of them, because it's expensive to deport people, right? So can we come up with something like some kind of system where they have to like have no criminal record? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like we can come up with something where they're going to be able to stay, almost like an amnesty, but not like, here you go, here's your citizenship. Does that make sense? It's almost like we have to figure something out. You don't just get this privilege. And what I keep trying to say is like, I couldn't just go live in Germany or Paris or anywhere like that and just live there.
Nah.
they're not just going to give me citizenship. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to be an illegal there. So you have to ask whether it's a working visa and then you work, you know what I'm saying? You think they're going to allow that to happen? I'm sure, of course they have illegals there. Yeah. Obviously they have immigrants there, but I'm saying it's like their problem is not as big as ours. You know what I'm saying? And so I've always thought to myself is like, there's got to be some kind of solution. You know what I'm saying? No one wants to take the time to figure it out though. You see what I'm saying? But there's got to be a halt. Like there's got to be like you can't just let everybody come in here. Shit.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
You can't
like,
just have a constant open border at all times.
And I've always thought that. I knew that you couldn't just have an open border policy, but I feel like I always felt like there needed to be a solution for it. Like, don't give parents a hard time if they're illegal, right? If they have children here to get into school. Like, just let them get into fucking school, because if they're going to end up staying here, right? We want them to be functioning members of society and be smart.
Contributing members of society.
Exactly. And so, like, we don't want them just to be these kids who are going to turn out to be another. I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing construction or anything like that, but I feel like any parent that comes here, the reason they come here is because they want better for their children.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like, we've got to make it to where I don't think now it's an issue, but I know back then it was really hard, because my grandma told me how hard it was to get her kids enrolled in school, because back then you had to have a social security number. It was a lady that she met. She told me it was my Uncle Cesar had met this guy who was his friend, and the mom of that boy was the one that got all of them enrolled in school. And so all except for my dad and no, that was it. My dad's the oldest. Everyone else got to come to school here. And it was this lady that helped her register all her kids in school. You know what I'm saying? So what I mean is like, we have to find a solution to these things. It's not like, yes, they should all be able to come here. No, we get that they're running from these fucking countries, but also, hey, America, if you want to be helping all the time, right? Why don't you go help these countries then to set up like some kind of work? I don't know. Like, these people are fleeing their countries because their countries are bad. So if they're able to, maybe we do something to help their countries. I don't fucking know. I know we can't save everybody, right? But I mean, they're obviously fleeing that country because it's shitty. The what do you call it? The economy. The economy is, I mean, they make pennies.
Yeah, the security. Did you ever watch the Salvadorian president talk to Tucker Carlson?
Did it come out already?
Yeah.
No.
I'll send it to you. It was interesting. That was the two major points, like I had mentioned, was just like security and then the economy, you know? But again, I mean, to put a bow in it for the United States, and a nice neat bow is like, look, we have a lot of problems here, and we should focus on those first, and then we should start.
We don't even help our own Americans here.
Our homeless, our veterans, you know, there's plenty of issues here. Our marginalized people here in the country. There's a lot of issues here. Don't get me wrong, helping everybody, helping the world, that's great and all, but
that's what I'm saying.
You got to start at home.
Exactly. We can't even fix our own poverty issues here.
I thought you were gonna say potholes.
No, well, that too. Shit, look at my street right here.
Streets are terrible.
Hello. We live in such an expensive area, and look at the way our streets look, man. It makes no sense. And but yeah, that's what I mean. It's like we have our own issues here. We have so many homeless teens here. We have so many kids in foster care here. You know what I'm saying? That need to be adopted, that need to be helped. You know what I'm saying? There's all these issues here that we also don't work on ourselves. But we're so quick to, you know what I'm saying, go attack other countries, or, you know, we're so quick to do those things. And that's what I mean. Those are the things, Rob, that I honestly didn't understand how it worked before. You know what I'm saying? It's little stuff like that. And, you know, I'm very excited about going to this trip this weekend, because I can't wait to see like this.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what y'all bring back.
I can't wait for you guys to see this footage. I hope that it doesn't get canceled, because the first one did get canceled because of the White House, this whole thing that they have on it. And if you didn't know, the White House has prohibited anybody from doing ride-alongs, any basically like news reporters or anything like that going and speaking to anybody, because they obviously don't want you to know what really is happening there.
It's true.
So I hope that we can bring some truth to some folks, and maybe for once you can stop just saying, oh, now you want to worry about it. No, now it's we understand how it's working. Now we understand that this administration that took over again is doing it again. You see what I'm saying?
You're damn right.
So with that being said, stay tuned for that video. It will be on the Chingabling YouTube channel.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that you guys can watch it. But I'm excited for you guys to see that. Because I think it's time we open up our eyes. I really feel like it's really time.
Broaden the conversation.
Yeah. And there's got to be a solution, man. We can't just, these people are coming in herds.
They're surging the border like they were told to.
It's a crazy time, man. That's what I was saying. It's like, we're fucked up.
Let's end it on a high note. What can listeners look forward to, Mariswole?
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to give them any like little snippets of what you might have coming up?
So, all right. So, I am going to drop Her Athletic, guys. And it is athletic wear because as you guys know, if you've been following me for a while, my Instagram name used to be Mariswole Lifts. I think it still says that when I reply to people. I think it still says Mariswole Lives. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
But it's been, if I told you how long that's been in the process, you'll be like, what? Why is it barely coming out?
Yeah.
That's another podcast for you guys. So I'm excited about that. That's going to come. I really want this apparel, guys, for athletic apparel to be dedicated to your journey, her journey, like we talked about.
Yep.
And it's not about being the fittest. It's about being the healthiest. And whatever is going to take your journey there, whether it take you 1 year, 6 months, 3 months, whatever it is, being healthy it's a great thing. Being overweight, although they love to glorify that on these magazines and say that it's okay, it is not. In the long run, it is not okay to be overweight. If you would see the inside of your body and see how all the fat just clogs up your arteries and just everything that functions inside, you would probably be a little bit scared. And if you're somebody who just, it's hard. It's a mental thing. It's not something, being healthy is not about, it takes a lot of work. And so that's kind of like what I want my athletic wear to kind of represent. It is going to be made for women of all sizes. Because I want for women of all sizes to feel great about their fitness journey. You know what I'm saying? I want them to feel good when they go to the gym. I want them to look good. I don't want you to wear big old t-shirts because you're insecure of yourself. I want you to feel good. I want you to walk in that gym and you fucking own it regardless of what size you are because you're working on the healthier you. So regardless of what size you walked into that gym, your journey is to be a healthier person, not so much about that. So that's coming. And then after very much convincing from Rob, I think we're going to go ahead and open and start a Patreon. If you were part of my Patreon during the pandemic, it was just a fitness one. And then, so this time it's going to be work a little bit different. I'm very excited for you guys, to hear about it. We're going to have a meeting and then, more details will come. So hopefully you guys will be a part of that and join the Her Lounge Patreon and be a part of that exclusive type of membership. So stay tuned for that information. And so we'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah,
Friday.
These will drop back to back. So we're a day late.
Yeah, so we're a day late, yes.
That's what the mal day.
And so we're having Brianda on, who is a former Houston, Miss Houston
Latina
winner. And she's also into fitness, has a bunch of, has some collagen out.
Has supplement line.
Yeah.
She was on a fitness show on, what was it? It was on Univision. I forget.
Yeah.
Ex Talento or something like that.
Yeah. So really neat girl, very, very, woman.
Yeah.
But she's a pretty damn cool. She's somebody who's doing a lot. I was on her podcast. We kind of have a lot of similar.
And she's a competitor as well.
She's a competitor. Yeah. And so
she used to be one of my sponsored athletes. She used to come. Yeah. That's how I know her.
That's awesome. I think you guys will enjoy hearing her talk. I think you'll learn quite a bit from her. I'm pretty sure she's going to want to talk about feminism just because she came from when we talked about it, she came from somewhere that she was in a different place in her life, and then she realized that that's not the place to.
Interesting.
To
Yeah, I'm
kinda
looking
be.
forward.
Yeah,
She's been trying to get me to do her podcast for like 2 months, but she works out of town now, and it's kind of
I know
like
it's hard
to schedule.
Yeah, I know. So finally, we got it because
Cool.
I was on her podcast like.
Yeah, it was
2
about
months
yeah,
ago. And so now she's finally able to come on mine.
Cool.
So I'm excited for you guys to listen to that. So thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you are married, guys, don't forget to rub each other's back here and there and,
Keep it
spicy and enjoy your company. Marriage is hard. Marriage is far from easy. I think we all know that. It's like a business. You have to work at it every day. You need to sit there and evaluate it and see what changes you need to make, maybe what things you need to add. So, love each other and let's just be good humans. And that's it, right?
Good message, Mariswole.
Right?
God.
Just saying. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see y'all next week. Oh, no, Friday.
Yeah.